Hello, I'm Francisco Gutierrez, and with my classmate Daniel Herrera, we are going to be analyzing different texts and discussing each of their elements.
During the course of this video, we are going to analyze a descriptive text, being the text a review of the movie The Batman, and an article regarding this deep sea mining. We are going to inspect their grammatical functions, such as their scaffolding, their most relevant grammatical features, the recurrence rules present in the text, the most frequent progression pattern, and the most frequent connectors.
To start, we will analyze a descriptive text from the New York Post. A review of the 2022 movie The Batman, to be more specific. First, we must analyze the scaffolding of the text. The text starts with a general opening statement that states that the subject of the review is the movie The Batman. However, in the following two paragraphs that we have selected, the main subject of the movie, isn't talked about. However, the Batman as the character is being talked about by defining and giving descriptions of the character. And to do this, it uses several grammatical features. More prominently, the use of adjectives to give characteristics and linking verbs in order to chain together the ideas. We can also observe the recurrence rules present in the text, such as repetition, pronominalization, nomination, and co-reference. In order to talk about recurrence rules, we must know what are they. As the name states, they are elements that reoccur or reappear in the text as it goes ahead. First, we'll address the repetition, which means that an element reappears same form in a different place in the text. We can see this with the element Batman that appears in two different forms. It first appears as the beginning of the text and in the last paragraph as Batman referring as the movie. However, it is also spotted in the second paragraph and the third paragraph as Batman referring as the character. Now we have pronominalization, in which we use pronouns instead of the noun to refer to a subject. You can see this more prominently in the second and third paragraph, when it is first referred to the character Batman as Batman, and then the text starts using pronouns such as he and his. Now we will talk about the nominalization, in which we use nouns created from adjectives or verbs. This rule isn't that prominent in the text, but we can see that in the second paragraph, the term avenger, that derives from a verb, avenge, is being utilized as a noun. And lastly, we have the co-reference, in which we use different expressions to refer to something previously mentioned. You can see this more specifically with the word Batman. In the first paragraph, Batman is being utilized as the name of the movie, and a bit later we use this long chapter to refer to the movie. In the second paragraph, we can see that Batman character is being referred as a character or an Avenger. And also, with a bit of knowledge about the character, we can associate the term Dark Knight also to the character. Lastly, in the third paragraph, the term modern superhero is being used to refer to the Batman as a character. And also, the term hero is being used to refer to the character. Now we will analyze the progression patterns. We can observe that the text utilizes a hyperthematic progression. However, the hypertheme, meaning a big theme that the Rim will talk about, is different in each paragraph. In the first paragraph, we can observe that the hypertheme is the darkness of the movie, referring to the illumination in the construction visually of the movie, and to the animals that appear in the movie. In the second paragraph, our RPG theme is the character of the Batman, and the actors that play the character. And finally, in the last paragraph, it talks about the identity crisis of the Batman, referring to the superhero and the movie by mentioning that both the movie and the character struggle with being a vigilante. And to finish this analysis, we'll talk about the frequent connectors. We can notice that the most prominent implicit connectors are periods used to separate ideas, and that the most prominent explicit connectors are specifically the particle AND, which is used as a coordinator of addition in order to link ideas that have the same importance. We can see this when the text links adjectives together. By, for example, in the last paragraph, saying that both the Batman character and the Batman movie struggle with their legacy.
Now we are going to be analyzing an article from the newspaper The Guardian, which is an informative text and which function is to inform readers about the historical background and current issues surrounding deep sea mining, while expressing concern about the lack of attention and actions on the matter. First, we have to look at the scaffolding. We see that the text begins by highlighting the significance of Sunday, 9 July, in relation to the global economy and the potential ecological damage caused by deep sea mining. We can later extract historical context by the explanation of the UNCLOS and the ISA in 1994. Finally, the author criticizes the failure of the ISA to develop a mining code or benefit sharing mechanism, emphasizing the power dynamics between rich and developing countries. For the grammatical features, we will notice some complex sentence structure along the text. We will be able to locate subordinate clauses of contrast and reason, as we can see in the following. Yet few people seem to be taking much notice. The British government has been silent. After 25 years of torturous negotiations, the United Nations passed UNCLOS, but UNCLOS declared the deep sea outside the EEZs, known as the area covering 54% of the world's oceans, was the common heritage of mankind. And because rich countries did not want to give small developing countries power, they insisted that decisions have to be made by consensus. Continuing with the 4 recurrence rules present on the text, we will be addressing the next ones. First, we have the recurrence rules of repetition. We can see that terms like UNCLOS, the area, and the ISA are repeated alongside the text. Then we will work with pronominalization. For this one, we will have to search for subjects which are replaced by a pronoun or an article. We will notice that UNCLOS is then replaced by the pronoun it, and that later the term rich countries is replaced by the pronoun they. Continuing with the recurrence rules, we have lexical substitution. We will see that the hypernym mining code will be then replaced by the hypernym code. We will know that it is referring to the same code, but it is now using a broader term. Finally, we have the rule of determination, which will be apparent for us in the case of coastal countries, which is later specified as Kingston, Jamaica in the text. We know that to use determination, we have to provide a broad term to then specify it in the text, which in essence is the opposite of lexical substitution. For the progression pattern, we have a zigzag structure. We will be able to notice this by how the author introduces a paragraph with a theme, then develops the rhyme, and then introduces a new theme with the previous one in the next paragraph. And finally, we have the we have the connections in the text, which are periods and connectors, specifically coordinating conjunctions like yet and but, and other connectors like because.
And to finish this video, we present the sources of the text that have been analyzed. Thanks for your attention.